my first questions all pertain to Grandpa. And the first one is, what branch of the military did he serve in?
The Minnesota Air National Guard.
And then what war was going on and when did he serve?
He served from 1963 for 8 years. It was during the time of Vietnam, and he was in the Guard, so he was never on active duty.
What did his service entail?
He went to Lackland Air Force Base for basic training, and then he went to school in Amarillo for refueling planes. And he supported the Berlin airlift.
Do you know what his title was or may have been?
I would think it was Tech Sergeant.
What were your and Grandpa's thoughts and experiences surrounding the draft? Why did he volunteer?
He volunteered to go in the Guard because he didn't want to get drafted because we had little children at home. And he would rather have served here.
What were his assignments and duties that you did know about?
That I did know about?
Yeah.
Basically refueling planes, and they did that all day long.
What were your experiences on the home front during Vietnam and Korea? Because I know specifically during Vietnam there was a lot of American dislike for the war, especially towards the end.
Oh, we did dislike the war, and we were always afraid the men were going to get called up, all of them. But that never happened. But
what did they do to combat that fear?
There wasn't much you could do but worry a little bit about it.
What was it like having a spouse and a son in the military?
It wasn't bad because they were both really proud. It was hard for me with 6 little kids at home when he was gone, but we planned around it and got through it okay.
Do you remember what David went through when he was in basic training at all?
Well, he was sick a lot when he was in basic training, so he was in the hospital down there for a while. But basic training was pretty hard. They physically kept you really busy and lost a lot of weight and couldn't wait to get home.
What was Grandpa's life like while he was in the military, but while he was at home? So while he was enlisted, but he was at home.
Well, during the week, his work week was still the same. He worked Monday through Friday. The only times it affected him was the weekends where he had Saturday and Sunday over at the Guard base.
Was he doing anything other than working at that time?
He was going to school at night, but that was during the week, so nothing really interfered other than the weekends once a month.
You almost make it seem like Grandpa's service wasn't a massive part of your guys' life at that time, whereas now we kind of think of that as dominating someone's life if that's what's going on. Why do you think that that's...
Well, we were young and we knew we had to take care of the responsibility, and we just took it in stride, and it didn't really disrupt our lives a lot other than me being home alone on the weekends, but he came home at night, so it was almost like he was going to work, but he enjoyed being in the Guard, and he would have stayed longer than 8 years if we didn't have all the kids at home, but
Did his service affect the kids when they were growing up? Did they ask what he was doing or what was going on, why he was gone?
No, because he was just gone during the day, so it was almost like he was going to work, but they'd comment when he came home in his uniform. But and we had a close-knit relationship with the other guardsmen and had picnics and things together, dinners. All in all, it was fun, and he enjoyed it, and the 2 weeks during the summer was a little harder, but you get through it.
Can you talk about his summer training and then um, how often he served throughout a month?
His summer training was 2 full weeks during the summer. They went out of state for training, and then he had one weekend, Saturday and Sunday, every month that he served at the Minneapolis St. Paul Airport.
What branch of the military did you serve in?
Air Force.
When did you serve?
June of 1990 through June of 1994.
What was your rank or title while you were in the service?
Well, I was enlisted, so my highest rank was E4, which was a sergeant. We called it a buck sergeant. So I think I became a buck sergeant at 3 years.
What were you involved in during your service? What were some of your basic duties, and what did you have to do?
I was an avionics technician on an FB-111.
What does that mean?
It's a jet fighter that I worked on. There's what they call line replaceable units that plug into the fighter jets. So when one of them malfunctioned, we'd pull them out and then work on them.
Did you volunteer for service?
Yes.
What inspired you to make that decision?
Because I just was looking for a direction in my life, and it paid for college, or helped pay for college.
Did you have any unique experiences during basic training or training after basic training?
I had unique experiences as far as mobility, or one time we flew to South America, sat on the plane, and flew back it was an exercise, a mock mission.
Did you form any unique bonds with other soldiers and officers while you were in the Air Force?
Yes, as an enlisted person, I've formed a lot of bonds with. You form tighter friendships, I think, in the military, just because you're kind of a team unit together, so you kind of become pretty loyal to each other.
Did you guys spend a lot of time together outside of military operations?
Yeah.
During your service, were you ever on active duty anywhere?
I was active duty the whole time.
Where?
I went to, everybody in the Air Force goes to boot camp in San Antonio. Then I went to, for tech school, I had a year-long tech school in Denver at Lowry Air Force Base. And then actually my only duty station was Cannon Air Force Base, which is in Clovis, New Mexico, or right by Clovis, New Mexico. So I spent 3 years, almost 3 years in New Mexico. And then I separated from the service.
Do you have any specific memories from the service that are things you reflect back upon, or good memories or bad ones or anything like that?
I have a lot of good memories, have a lot of good friends that I made there. Although the thing about the military is you make real close friendships, and then you got to move on because people move on and off. It's very mobile. People move base to base, but my daughter was born while I was in the military, so that's an important time. Looking back, a lot of the just the teamwork and stuff like that, it's not really something that you experience in civilian life, or that I have experienced anyways.
What year was Cass born?
1991.
So was she born while you were in the service?
Yeah, she was born a couple months after I got to New Mexico. She was born in New Mexico.
So did she live with you on base and stuff like that?
Well, when I was married to Cass's mom, we actually lived off base. The military gave you money to live off base because there's only so much base housing. So I lived in a house off base. So Cass never lived on base.
How do you think Cass's early childhood was shaped from living with you and her mom in the military, if at all?
Well, I definitely think it was shaped from that. She was in military daycares quite a bit through the. I think it was a positive experience, especially being that her parents were very young. So we probably had the means to take a little better care of her than if we, because we did get divorced halfway through there, which could have been a hard financial undertaking. But I think the military, although it doesn't make you rich, you're always provided for.
Okay.
It's good security, I guess, what you call it.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.